We shared last time one of the Ramchal's proofs, one of the Mesilas Yesharim's proofs for the idea that the tachlis of everything can't be this world, that the endpoint has to be the next world. And that was that this world has such difficulties in it and tsar, and after everything, what do you get to? You leave this world. So how could that be what it's all about? And that idea is one which one has to be careful with, because it could lead one easily to depression, down, tzad small, all the negative things that could come out from that. It's an idea which, if you can use it, it's a powerful idea to use, and it is good for a person to have something sobering in him and realize and understand the difficulties, the transience of this world, etc. But you have to be careful with it. Now he reads and shares with us a second proof for the idea that the tachlis cannot be this world. And listen to this. V'lo od, ella shim tachlis brias adam haylet tzorech olam hazeh. If the tachlis of our creation was for this world, lo yet tzarech mnezeh, it wouldn't have been necessary tenupach bo, tenupach like nipuach. You say blow up in Hebrew, nipul linapach. Tenupach bo neshama kol kach chashuva v'elyona. We wouldn't have needed such an incredible, special, beautiful, beautiful neshama. Shtia gedol yoter min hamalachim atzmim, that's greater than the malachim themselves. Now, we don't think a lot in our world about the malachim. Think about it in Parshas Vayera. Aaron was visited by malachim, and the truth is, we mention them every day in davening. We talk about davening, and we mention them in kedusha. But the average person not on their mind, like, what's up with the malachim? There's a whole sefer by Ruv Margolis, the one who wrote Margolis Yam, all about different malachim, what each one represents. Interesting book. And but I think we all will readily agree that malachim are very, very, very holy. Whatever they are, and wherever they are, it's something unbelievable, something special, something pristine, something above, something holy. And I think we also realize that things like pizza, fries, sushi, baba ganoush, and steak don't do it for malachim. Well, guess what? The neshama, your neshama, my neshama, our neshama, is greater than the malachim. How high is the Jewish neshama? How high is the soul? It is something that's greater than the malachim. Those malachim that we all appreciate, that they have nothing but the shlichus that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends for them, that they sit and maranin and sing to the Rebbeinu Shalom the whole day. Anything spiritual you can imagine. Our neshama is higher than that. So kol shekain, therefore, says the Mesilas Yesharim, she ain't a motzer shum nachas ruach b'chol nilgi ze'olam. So all the factors of this world, the pleasure of this world, mean nothing to it. Kavod, respect, honor, food, all types of pleasures, doesn't speak to the neshama. It's not interested in that. It's not its language, not its currency. The pasuk says, and the soul also will not be filled. This is Chazal. The ironi, I'm not sure because ironi means ear. Ironi sounds like ear, but ear back then, it sounds like something like we call like a farm boy or someone very simple. We'll see from the context. Somehow the shidduch came about. He married the daughter of the king. How that happened? I don't know. But that's what happened. He only married the Bas Malachim. He brings her all the things of this world, all the things he likes, McDee's and Whoppers and Poppers and Stoppers and beer and Coke, watermelon, and he's so excited. Here it is, honey. Thank God we got married, and now I'm giving you some good Cajun cooking. How do you say it, right? No. He's missing it. That's not what you give a Bas Malachim. She doesn't want this. That's not pizza. You have to talk caviar. You have to talk fancy French cooking. You have to talk something special. 4-course dinners, 6-course dinners. All that. She bas melech. She's a bas melech, man. Get it right. Realize who you married. Kacha nefesh. So to the nefesh. It's nothing. Meaningless. Doesn't speak. Not the currency like we said. Lama shimin el yonim, because the neshama is from a high place. This neshama that's in you is greater than the malachim. V'chein amru zichronim levracha al korcha tanotzer al korcha tanolad. The neshama was pushed down into this world. We all say that we all know it. From Abbas, al korcha tanotzer, you're created against your will. Al korcha tanolad. No, what is it? Our body? It's not against our body's will. Our body's happy, otherwise our body wouldn't be. So it's a good deal. But your soul, I think it's a very good way to think about that. The soul didn't want to come into this world. It's disgusted by this world. Strong words. Now, I've said this idea before, I believe, that part of the reason this is so hard for us is because we are so physical, and our olam hachushim, our world of recognition, is so physical, so things speak to us. My Rebbe Rav Leichter said once, if you're in the middle of an apple and you put it down because you have a 45-minute conversation, you don't forget about the apple. That's where we live, right? Even people who aren't very physical, but all of us in our Jewish world definitely celebrates food to a certain extent, right? People making fancier smachos with better food, better cooking, more to'ameha, more of all things. So it speaks to us. So now we have to gear ourselves to understand this point, to be anshe seichel, shumbal seichel, like he said, to think a little bit past the world which is in front of us and past the world which speaks to us, and it's difficult, and I have the same difficulty you do, and like in almost everything I'm saying here, I'm speaking together with our listeners, but we have to think in a seichelic way. I want to give another mushal for what's happening to the neshama when it goes into the body. But first I want to remind everybody and advise everybody and share with everybody, there's a beautiful song called Neshama La, Little Neshama La. Some of you for sure have heard it, and it's going off in your heads already. And it's a song between, I think, Moshe Rosenblum, I think, who wrote the song, and the great Mordechai Ben David. And it's the Malach speaking to the neshama about coming into this world. Mordechai Ben David plays the neshama with a vulnerable sound, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful song. It's really fit to listen to. I haven't heard it in a few years myself. Come with me, little neshama, but Moshe, dear Malach knows I don't want to go. I don't want to ruin it with my croaker, but when you hear it, that's the point. The neshama is sitting there with the Rebbeinu Shalom, sitting up there next to Kisei Kavod, sitting there higher than the Bas Malachim, and he looks into this world with all of its trials, tribulations, difficulties, grimy food. There? You want me to go? I don't want it. And when we hear that song, it speaks to us. But we don't take it back into ourselves and say, well, what does that do for our actions? What does that do for my life? How should I look at things? How should that focus me? Like many great songs and many great musarim, in a certain way they go in one ear and out the other. I want to give another mushal. Imagine it, for those, I'll try to give two mushalim for different interests. Imagine a great athlete in the world of athletics and sports, something called the GOAT, which is great, G-O-A-T, greatest of all time. Right? So take the greatest of all time. Let his name be Michael, let his name be LeBron, let his name be Lionel, let his name be Roger, let his name be Novak. So those are some prominent athletes, for those who don't know. And you'd say to them, you gave them this amazing body with amazing abilities. We say, you know what? You're stuck for the rest of your life in a wheelchair. I tie you into a wheelchair. And you say to yourself, what are you doing to me? Why did you give me all these abilities and then stick me to a wheelchair? Maybe if I wouldn't have the body of a great athlete, it would be more understandable. But to do that, take a great actor. You say to the actor, you know what? You have all these abilities to capture every part of the world, to memorize your lines, to speak with drama, eloquence, passion, all the things. But you know what? You can't gesticulate. You're not allowed to use your hands. And you can't speak. What is that? What is that and why is that? That's cruel. Im Kain, continues Mesilas Yesharim, Vade lo hayaborei, habar yisbarch bria letachlis, shu neged chuka v'nimas imenu. So Hashem wouldn't have created an neshama to be in this world which is against it. Right? That doesn't make any sense. It's not logical, it's not reasonable, it's not fair, and it's not nice. And it's even cruel. Ella, therefore, we conclude, Briyaso Shala Adam. And we say the Adam means our neshama and us, right? Because we're made up of that. L'matzavo bolam habayi. So it must be by these two proofs. Again, now, these two proofs are sichlistic proofs, like I think I mentioned last time, with an assumption that man is purposeful and that we have an neshama. If you say, I don't believe in the neshama, we're just a bunch of chemicals, and it just happens as we came. So the whole logic falls apart, right? But we're in a world of Amunah. He's not trying to prove those ideas, right? We're assuming a neshama, and we're assuming purpose. But now if we assume Amunah, we assume purpose, so then once we make those two assumptions, you have to say it's Olam Haba. Because if we're purposeful, then, and if our Bria means something, we wouldn't have been in this situation which is so difficult, the trials, tribulations, sufferings of the world. And we wouldn't have gotten a neshama which is so special, which is so built for something else than this world. So the conclusion is, so our real place is the next world. So that's why you have a neshama. Because through it it's fit to be oved. So neshama has two aspects to it. One, it's the thing through which we can be oved and gain schar and gain similarity to Kadosh Baruch Hu in this world, and gain that it shouldn't be namad kasufa, gain that we should be embarrassed in our ultimate reward in the next world, and it has the sense to experience what that world really is. It understands what ultimate meaning is. It understands the pleasure of understanding Kadosh Baruch Hu. It gets it. Now it makes sense. Yeah, the Olam Haba, the neshama works for Olam Haba. Now it makes sense. And now, just to go back to the mashal you before, what if I turned to that great athlete and I said, I did put you in the wheelchair. You know why it was? Because I had to teach you things. I had to teach you patience. I had to teach you self-control. I had to teach you how to deal with difficulties. You're going to be the greatest of all time, but it's not going to be a simple path. There are people standing in your way. So now it makes sense. It wasn't pleasant to have this body. To have this body be stuck in a wheelchair forever is cruelty. But to have this body spend time in a wheelchair in order to learn the lessons that were necessary, that was worth everything. That's in a certain sense what the mashal is. So roy lavod, with the neshama it's roy lavod, and therefore it makes sense, right? Again, now what the neshama picks up in this world, okay, I think we all understand through Torah mitzvahs and through acting, being Doma Tashem, and through earning the reward. So therefore, the experience we have in the next world is on a whole different level. That's the way the picture is supposed to work in a fixed way. And by the way, at the end of the neshama song, I don't want to ruin for you, and listen to it anyway. But at the end, the neshama doesn't want to leave this world because it sees how much it accomplished in this world, and now it gets connected. So the neshama originally didn't want to go down into this world because it looks from its high place. But the neshama Elyona, which accomplished in this world and saw how much nachas ruach I can cause the Rebbeinu Shalom, how much amazing things I can do in this world, especially in our generation, how much I can accomplish, how much I'm doing, etc. Whoa! So now you want me to leave this world, but now I'm earning extra, and there's Shabbos and there's mitzvahs and there's chesed and there's Torah and there's tefillah and there's connection. No. Neshama, it's time to come back. It's time to come back. You did a good job. Now it's time to come back. Okay, listen to the song. You love it. But to stay down here forever without purpose, that there won't be something disgusting to the neshama, kolam hazel, like there is in this world. It will be very beloved to it. Okay, so it's a very moving paragraph. It's coming from a different angle, and I just want to say a parenthetical remark, which is important. We see from here that it's always important to, one, receive good ideas from trustworthy sources, even if we don't understand them. But when we can understand those things and make them rational, reasonable, there's a purpose in that also. Because why did Mesilas Yesharim just say to us, look, this is how it is, accept it, I'm the boss, I'm the Ramchal, you guys are a bunch of cabbage heads, here it is. He didn't do that. He explained the way things work, Olam Haza, Olam Haba, as we've discussed in all these many, many sessions in the first parak. But then he said, I want you to see it from Seichel also. I want to understand that. And of course that's true, because whatever person understands, he enjoys, he connects to more, etc. Don't leave things with your children, with yourself, just on the, I give you a strong example of that. Moshe Feinstein famously said, Shver zu sein Yid, destroy the generation, right? The Yerid of Yiddishkeit in America wasn't just from the people who just came through there to fill in Tallis Island, out into the Hudson Bay, etc. But there was people who were Moshe Nefesh and kept Yiddishkeit, but then bring any of the joy of Yiddishkeit. They bring understanding of Yiddishkeit. We do it. Baruch Hashem, we're soldiers, and they get enormous reward for that. We have to say the omik of what the Gadol Hador said. But since there was no connection, and it was difficult to be a Yid, and there was no understanding, I'm expanding the idea a little bit, so then that's not something which carries over to the children. So we always have to understand things from their receiving aspect, and sometimes we can't understand. There are paradumas in life, there are gzeras hakasuvs, there are things we don't understand, the storm dark Hashem, but there's so much we can't understand, and what we can't understand, we should understand. Okay, so looking forward to continuing in the next steps as we're closing in on the end of the first parak, but every session takes us deeper into these ideas, and we're going to see that this first parak is mamish the basis of this, the foundation, the shorish, the root, and the foundation of everything that's going to come afterwards in the whole sefer, and that's why it's so important to get these incredible ideas down well.